you do learn your body shape, and it's honestly just like, trial and error, pick things up and put them on. And I think that's why it's like, I don't necessarily have like a favorite designer I want to dress in this certain way, because I know it doesn't work for my body. So I've just figured out a style that I think can work with my shape.
Hello, my name is Eline Perez and you're listening to Are You an Artist? Today's episode is with Arabella Watts, who speaks about fashion, the origin of high heels and weddings. We laughed a lot because Arabella is funny, and sometimes I shout in the microphone, but I try to reduce the volume, so hopefully you can still enjoy this wonderful conversation with Arabella. Let's go. So I've written a letter, of course.
Ah, yes.
And I'm very happy to read it out to you.
Thank you.
Dear Arabella, I know that you are still wondering why I want to do an episode with you. You would repeat, but I'm not an artist. I don't do anything like art. And I would respond, but you are so creative in your whole being, the way you dress up and everything you do. And indeed, every time I see you at Wilton's, you are wearing a different and unique outfit which fits your personality. You look like a beautiful princess, but also the most independent and strong woman who doesn't seem to care about what others think. You are so creative in the smallest things and always enthusiastic, generous, kind, and funny. So today will be fun. Let's start with the question. Arabella, do you think that you are an artist of life?
Artist of life, that's a new one.
Yeah, that's the one for you.
That's the one for me. Oh, goodness. I guess, well, I mean, you said it in your cute little letter, which thank you very much, very kind words. Yes, I probably would respond with no, but that does sort of, as you say, people naturally go to the creation of artistic work, whether it's painting, whether it's dancing and things like that. And I haven't done that, so I would obviously say no.
I feel like you do that a bit though, not in a professional level, but you've danced, you draw, no?
No. I find it relaxing, but whatever comes out is just a blob.
Yeah, but still you do it, like...
Rarely, but yeah, okay. Sometimes.
I feel like every time I mention something, you're like, yeah, I've tried that. Like, I feel like you've tried everything.
I like to try things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it shows then up a deeper question, doesn't it? Like, yes, you could say a physical side of an artist is the things they create, but then an artistic is also how they are. And so depending on your definition of artist, I guess, I wouldn't necessarily see myself as one, but then maybe, as you're saying, from your point of view, you see myself as one. So I guess it just brings a really deep conversation, which I'm not sure I know the answers to.
How were you as a child? Were you
the
same kind of person, like always?
Oh, yeah, I think, yeah. Well, what are we considering childhood age?
I'm okay, let's start from 6 years old.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Because that's when you have more, like, memories and things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily remember it really clearly. But no, I was very I liked to do the dancing. I was creative in that way. I liked to sort of sing a lot. I would be running around and, very happy and joyous and, trying to do things as well. So in that aspect, yes, very, very similar to how I am now. Not quite as... I was going to say big about it, but that doesn't make that much sense. I mean,
you look very free.
Yeah, I would say, yes. I would say as a 6-year-old, very free. We all go through a point of teenager years and when you're not quite so free. Yeah. So I would say I didn't necessarily wear what I wanted when I was in teenage years. Everybody does that thing of what am I supposed to wear? What's cool, what's not? So yeah, but I think probably as a 6-year-old, I definitely wore what I want. And actually that reminds me, I knew this would happen. Random memories would spark as I start talking. But yeah, I remember my mum always talking about my grandmother had a farm. Mm-hmm. And it would be to dress up to go down the farm, we'd have to put wellies on. And she'd try and be come on, put your trousers on, we're going down the farm. I'd be no. And I'd want to put my sparkliest dress on.
Oh, wow.
I'd be no, I want to wear my party dress. I didn't care I was going down the farm. I wanted to wear my party dress.
And when did you find this dressing up freedom again?
I would say, I mean, it slowly appeared, I think. So it wasn't like a let's go. But I was always quite smart at school. So from the ages of, I always forget what secondary school years is, but it's about like 12 to 18 in that secondary school year. My school didn't have uniform. So I think that definitely helped.
Something I didn't think about that as well, because in France we don't have uniforms.
Ah, okay,
mostly.
you have that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went from being in that junior school years of having uniform, and then I went to senior school, and there were like no limits other than like you had to wear shoes and clothes. Like, they had to be respectable, obviously. But in theory, there wasn't like a.
I remember in high school, the people who were studying literature, they were a bit of hippies.
Oh,
and there was one woman, she was walking barefoot. As a statement, I'm not gonna wear shoes. Society.
Which I love. And like, if it wasn't for like a social, like unnorm or whatever the word is, I'd love to wear bare feet all the time. But I think people would be like, that's really gross. Which is fair, because London's floor is a bit nasty. So
even when you were around maybe 16, you were already kind of trying out outfits
and
finding...
definitely following like the really bad trends of like, had to wear like skinny jeans and all of this. And even though I did not have the legs for it, but you never mind.
That's also
not comfortable. Terrible. But I'd say about sort of 17, 18, I was starting to be like, okay, like certainly with the school that I went to, everybody was really creative, and there was a certain like look. It was a bit more like fun and hippie and a bit more grungy, and I was very smart. So I was already being like, okay, like I really like your style, but it doesn't work for me, so I'm going to be a bit smarter. So I guess that was the kind of start of it, because I wasn't necessarily going with what everybody else was wearing then. But I would say definitely through uni, like each year I just got a little bit braver. The sleeves got a little bit bigger. More and more fabric.
Do you have a lot of clothes at your...
Oh, too many. To the point where it doesn't fit in my wardrobe.
Oh.
And my poor partner is like, why are you buying more clothes?
And so how do you decide? Because every day you have such a unique, specific outfit, as I said. How do you decide it the day before?
It changes. There are definitely times where I find that like even if it's like just before I go to bed or like winding down, I'm like, oh, what can I wear tomorrow? And it's just sort of thought through my process. Or I'll just sort of wake up in the morning, open the wardrobe and consider what it is. I think certainly if there's like an event going on, I will have thought about it the night before. But if it's just a daily wake up and get ready, I will probably, it's definitely more think of like, I'm just going to open my wardrobe and put on the first thing I see. But yeah, I'm not sat there like planning my outfits for the week, I guess.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
This is where this goes. But yeah, I definitely probably take... Oh no, actually I don't think that is true. I was going to say, I think I take more time than most. And that would imply that I take hours to get ready. And I'm not actually sure that's true. Like including a shower. I don't know why I'm adding this in. Probably like an hour. So I don't know if that's a normal time. Well, some people just run out the door.
Well, I'm not a normal person, so I just do things too quick, I think.
Yeah. Go. I mean, makeup as well. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, right?
It depends if I can be bothered or not.
And remember what you wanted to do as a child? Like your future dream job?
No, I really don't. I can imagine as the little 6-year-old and things like that, my extra activity was dancing. So probably at some point it popped into my brain, but actually really quickly I knew that I enjoyed dancing and I saw the dancers on stage and admired them, but I never pictured myself on there.
Okay.
So I think, probably very little that happened. And then, I never had that. And I remember that being quite difficult to then be like, you've got to choose what you're going to do now at school. And I really didn't know, because some people were, they have that thing really early on. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a this, and had to choose their subjects accordingly.
Yeah.
I never had that. So it was quite difficult. But I think that sort of makes sense of where, like how I've ended up as well. Because I've just, what I've done is I've done it through experience and learning what I was good at. Because it wasn't like the traditional academic stuff at school. It was through situational.
So what did you do after high school?
After high school, I did go to university and study dance.
Just dance, or did you have other subjects?
No, it was just dance. It was dance studies rather than in like a conservatoire. So more traditionally, which is not necessarily true, but more traditionally, you go to sort of university to learn maybe the sort of other side of it rather than performing.
Okay, maybe, more theory.
So theory or like choreography. I mean, loads of people that I've seen that were in my class have gone and done performing. So there's no damning on the university like studying of it. Like, you know, you can still have many chances to perform. But there was obviously opportunities to learn how to teach as well, dance criticism, so going and writing about it. And I went because it was something that I knew and I liked doing. And it was my A-level dance teacher who was like, you know, how about you go do dance? And I was like, oh no, I'm not that bothered about being a performer. Like, I don't think that would be for me. And she was like, oh no, don't worry about like going to London Contemporary Dance School, for example. Like, if you study at university, you might find the other aspects that you enjoy. And by going there, I found out that I did enjoy the backstage stuff. I liked being there, or I liked the process. So rather than the piece itself, I found it so fascinating, like where it started and then what got taken out and how it ended. So I definitely like touched on different bits of trying to figure out what my interest there. I then did a master's in dance producing and management, thinking I was like, oh, I could be a producer. COVID kind of ruined that. So maybe produce
no show.
No show. It ended up being like this weird, I don't know, like video, because we were like sending out for people to like send us. Oh dear, it was an interesting thing, but COVID times, never mind.
COVID was so weird. I remember also
so
people
bizarre.
training in dance, they had to do it through video in their super small flauts in
I
like
feel
London.
So bad for those people that had to finish like their proper dance training, like whatever space they were given. Like some people had gardens, great, or some people had tiny flat rooms.
Yeah,
I feel really bad for them.
Yeah,
bad. But yeah, that is also really interesting. I don't know if COVID hadn't hit, maybe I'd try and be doing something like that. But I didn't. I then just sort of wanted to get back into doing a job. I was like, I need money.
So is that when Wilton's was later, right?
Wilton's was later. I worked as just a front of house staff at Trafalgar Theatre.
Okay.
It was reopening after COVID, and it used to be a space where there were two floors. One was like a creation space, one was a performance space, and they called it Trafalgar Studios. And then during COVID, they like knocked it down and took it back to what it was in the 1930s. And then, just opened as a theatre, so more traditionally. And I was like, yeah, well, it's close enough. You know, theatre, it's close to dance. And, you know, I would always worked as like a waitress or like in customer service, just like throughout uni. So I was like, I could do that, I'll be fine. Yeah. And then while I was there, they were like, oh, like you're really good. We want you to like be a supervisor. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did that casually while like the full-time ones were away. And then I also got trained to be a duty manager. So kind of like worked my way up. And then once at that point, I'd got to the bit where there wasn't really a job for me there. Like I'd taken out of it all that I could from learning about management, and no one there was leaving for me maybe to take their position. So then I looked elsewhere, and then I found Wilton's. And now I have manager in my title.
Yay! And what do you like most about working there?
At Wilton's?
Yeah.
I really like the family feel of the people that work there. And because I think from what I've heard, I actually haven't necessarily worked in these theatre environments, so I can't like say that it's definitely true. But from knowing people that have worked in other theatres, it can be much more regimented and much more like you have to like stand still in this special position, and you know it's all about selling, like upselling this, that, and we're so much more calmer. And I think the customers can see that.
Oh yeah.
And I think they quite like it. I mean, it is a very different vibe. So I think the people that maybe like that very much structure will not like it if you come to Wilton's. But majoritively, I would say, like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but pretty much everybody gets on with one another, and you can see that. So like you're being served by people who are generally having a good time at their job. And I think that's what's really nice.
Yeah. And like more like in the technical parts, what do you really like to do when you're there? What's your favorite part of your job in a way?
Favorite part of my job? Well, it's not my day-to-day job. I mean, I think, it's split into, my favorite part, I would say, is like, you know, meeting new people that would be part of the casual staff to see whether or not they'd fit really well in the current team. I do really enjoy that.
Okay.
There's now too many staff, so we have to not to bring any more people in.
So how does it work for you? Is it like you have specific questions, or is it more like the general feel of that person? Like,
so there are a set amount of questions just to like get people talking in terms of like, like how do you know Wiltons? Like, what's your experience about being a front of house staff? But I'm not really. Well, I am listening to the answer, but I'm not really listening.
And being like, they look sexy.
Yeah. Only get on your sex appeal, guys. No, but it's how you react. You can tell a lot of people by their body language and just how they're talking. And and I think that's what anybody, without deminimizing the job, anybody can do it. You know, you learn a certain thing for a certain way. You can learn how to use a ticket scanner and a till. But what is innate is how you are with customers and a personality. And I think that's what you sort of are trying to judge when people are coming through the door.
Do you have, you have a lot of people, right, who want to work there?
Yeah, I've got a long list of people keep being like, can I come and work? And I have to be like, I'm really sorry, there isn't any space, but I'll contact you when there is.
That is funny.
Yeah, which is, I guess, a great feeling.
Yeah, it is good.
But I also feel just really bad.
So I know that you also really like weddings.
I love the weddings. I was going to say that's my next bit. They're so much fun. And I have to say, I have to give it to like moving and working at Wilton's for that. Like that ignited a love that I didn't know that I had because it was just, an experience. And because we throw weddings at the venue, I've loved it. Like I've been part of showing the couples round for the first time. So it's like them being like, oh my God, wow, I can get married here. And you're like, yeah, you can. It's going to look pretty. And then also being there on the day in the morning, if you do the morning shift, you can kind of help them set up in a sense. Like they've already got their florist and they possibly already have their planner or their family. So you're not a main person, but you are there to sort of oversee it a little and you can kind of see their vision come to life. Like you see it right at the beginning, there's nothing. And then like all the flowers or no flowers. And you're there on a really special day for people. In theory, you'd hope. But and it's, you're filled of a day with a lot of love and it's really nice to see. And then people are just partying into the evening, which is also quite amusing.
But I didn't think about that. But it's almost like a performance. You have to prepare, you have the decor, you have to kind of rehearse and everything. So it is funny that they do that in the theatre. Yeah,
it is. It's actually, you break it down like that. I've never thought of it like that way, but you are entirely correct to the point where people even rehearse walking down the aisle. Yeah. You know, we show them like, this is how you'd go through the door. You're going to come down through this way, get like the bridesmaids to make a line up as well. So it's absolutely a rehearsal.
Do you think you could be a wedding planner or not really?
I do. I think that is another thing that I would say would be another branch into where my career would go. I think either I would continue going up in working in a theatre, you know, whether it be managing one, or I'd go down to being like a wedding planner route.
Because I feel like you have good care and attention to details, you know, like... Yeah.
Like yes, with that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Not so good with the numbers.
But we don't care about numbers.
We don't care about numbers.
But I mean, like, you know, where can we put these flowers and everything? And are you a perfectionist?
I'd say about certain things. And I can...
Not numbers.
Not numbers, no. I try, but it just doesn't stay in my brain. It's certainly about certain things. I think, my poor partner. I like things have a place in the house. Like, it's not like if it's not there, I get like grr and angry. But like there are certain things that I'm like, yep, that lives there.
Are you interested in design as well?
I'm interested in it. So I like, I am interested in it. I think that comes from my mum because she doesn't actually have it as a job, but she's designed a lot of people's homes.
Oh.
So she does sort of interior designing. That definitely pops in. She's helped a lot of like people in our family like dress their homes. And I used to like go around with her. So I definitely like doing things like that. I think that also comes from the clothes as well. I think I kind of design it and think about it in my brain before like trying to put it together. But yeah, I'm a perfectionist in that sense. It's like, no, that flower can't go there.
Not there. Yeah. It's pink. Yeah. Don't you see that?
It's the wrong color.
So are you more interested in visual arts, you would say? Or...
I would say my abilities are probably more in the visual arts. But I don't know if in like a go and see. Oh, no, actually, no, that's not true at all. I'd say I probably go to galleries more than I go to like theatre shows. So yeah, I retract. Yes.
Do you have a favourite gallery in London?
Oh, I mean, lots of things are for different, lots of ones come for different things. Like the Tate Modern's always a classic. But I very much like, what was the little one that I went to?
I can research it. Where is it?
I'm trying to think. There's one in Shoreditch type area.
And
that's it. That's that gone. I want to say it was called like the Jealous Gallery or something.
Montageline, it is indeed the Jealous Gallery, which can be found in Shoreditch. So, let's go.
Yeah, I might be wrong. I like the name too. But I may have created that up in my head, Brett. But it was just really nice. And it was definitely a certain artist, which unfortunately I don't know the name of, but it was just really nicely simple. Like they just put loads of just like pictures up on the wall, really just like sketches. But the way that they'd like designed it, it just looked really nice and calming. It's a really small space as well. I think I prefer that. When they're really big, then like obviously you can see everything and there's so much more to see. But then by making a smaller space, it makes it more intimate and then it becomes like a feeling rather than just like the picture that you're looking at. So when spaces have done that, I think that's when I like it the most. But then obviously the V&A has a place because there's lots of clothes and things in there.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, so funny because my French best friend, who I also interviewed, like she's also into fashion quite a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And every time she comes, she's like, V&A.
Let's go.
I'm like, okay.
I mean, it's a massive place and I'm pretty sure I haven't seen all the things in there. Definitely not. But yeah, it's not. Yeah, well, I mean, they get all the classic stuff.
So are you also interested in the history of fashion in a way, or?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I have an extensive knowledge, but I do find that really fascinating. Like you can see it when like eras are coming back in fashion and like why high heels were made and stuff like that. So yeah, stuff like that. I thought I knew the other day and now I'm not so sure. So don't take it as fact.
Okay.
Because the other day I was like, I'm pretty sure I was told that like a man designed it because it makes people's or like women, for example, legs like longer and like the way that you walk, it changes your silhouette and it will basically like stick your bum out a bit. So it gives you more like an aesthetic. But then also if you look way back in history.
Does it stick your bum out?
Yeah, because you're sort of stood on that, then naturally your bum is going to like...
Spine.
Yeah, like even if you're like stood up straight with good posture, like your bum will be extended because of the way that your feet are tilted. This is like stilettos, for example.
That's so funny.
But then, you look way back in history, like 1800s and stuff, and then men are already wearing a little bit of heel on their shoe. So I don't know if it's like the necessary origin of high heels, but I think the origin of stilettos is the bit where like a man created it to make like ladies' legs look better.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of a sad thought, but I guess, I mean, it does make your legs look better.
It's true.
It's true.
Sad, but true. And do you prefer to work on your own or with people?
I think it depends on what it is, but I mean, majority of it, I've always liked working with people. I definitely don't know if I would be able to do a very much like work at home office type job where you're just in charge of something. I definitely have to like talk things through with people. So even from a selfish point of view, having people around definitely makes my brain work better. And it's just more fun, isn't it? It's just nicer. But yeah, I think definitely with people rather than my own. Yeah.
And in like performing arts, what interests you most? Is it still dance or now is it also drama?
I think I've actually always liked it when they've been intertwined. I think because then I think sadly from being taught about dance and studying it, watching dance, you can't help but just sit there and criticize it, I guess, is what I'm saying, because you just know all the little things you can just pick out and notice more often, like, oh, I don't think that was supposed to happen, or oh, their timing's off. Whereas if you didn't necessarily know all that knowledge, you could probably sit back and like enjoy it a bit more.
Did you analyze a lot of like performances and everything when you were studying dance?
Yeah, we had to. God, there was, I mean, certainly for A level, we had to like, because of the way that the exams were set up, they would ask specific questions on whatever they put on the syllabus that year. So we did the Matthew Bourne Sleeping Beauty. We had to watch it over and over and was like, what does this set mean? What does that link to? I'm not sure I remember it, but
and you like you had to find the answer. Oh my God, it reminds me when we were analyzing novels in high school.
Yeah, exactly.
And
like
I
that.
hated it so much because I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think there are some aspects that are
right and wrong.
Yeah, that are the author wanted to create this or what. But,
Yes.
but also I feel like it's so subjective.
Yes,
how you interpret
I agree.
it, and I think
Yeah, no, I definitely remember that. I remember being like, yeah, but this is what I think about it. And they're like, yeah, but they want you to write this. And I was like, yeah, but that's not what I agree with. But I guess for it to become a subject, they kind of have to do that to create a syllabus rather than believing that that's correct. I'm just going to move my legs.
Yeah, move your legs.
There we go.
Because you have high heels.
Ta-da.
And your legs look very long and sexy.
Very long and sexy. She's wearing them.
Are you comfortable in heels?
Yes. Yeah, I think, it depends which heels. I mean, all of them are a bit more comfortable than one another.
Yeah.
But I think I've always worn them. And I think I've always said because of dancing, but like, I think your feet go through a lot.
Yeah.
So they don't like hurt so much. And then I just like them. I always did, dress up. And then, we'd have little like those little plasticky princess shoes in the dressing up box and walk around. And I'd always be like, Mummy, I want to wear my click-clack shoes. So I think it started from a very young age. And then, I mean, I think I've never really thought of it like this. But Sam, so our technical manager the other day, I was wearing like little trainers to Wilton's, and I was coming down the stairs and I was like, ooh, I lost my balance. He was like, I think you lose your balance more in flats than you do in heels. You've got so used to wearing the heels. I don't think that's actually true. But he makes a good point that like, basically consistently in some sort of heel.
That is so funny. And like, I feel also like you're so free of like other people's judgments, but maybe because I'm French and in France, you're being judged a lot about how you dress up and everything.
Yeah.
Here, have you felt sometimes judged or?
Yes, it definitely happens. I think as I've grown older, I have gone a bit like, well, I like it, so I want to wear it.
Yeah.
Obviously, if someone it's nice to hear when people say you look nice. So like, I guess there's always that element. But yeah, once I got into like early 20s, I very much was like, well, I like my outfit, so whatever.
I like them.
Yeah. But you do see like, I've had it in good ways and bad ways. You're walking along the street or on the tube and either somebody comes up and is like, oh, I really love your outfit. Like, you look great. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Or like, where are your shoes from? I love them. But then I have had a lot of people being like, interesting. Like an absolute like look up and down.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone is consistently judging, but that's a human nature quality, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been judged. But yeah, the older I get, the less care I give.
You're going to be a really fun grandma.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I see it now. Like glittery long cardigans running through. Yeah, it's going to be horrendous. My poor children are going to be so embarrassed of me.
And how do you call them? The clothes designers? Yeah. Do you have a favorite clothes designer or?
No, I don't think so. I think when I've I very much appreciate a lot of them, and there are ones that obviously stand out. Like I love, I've always loved Vivanne Westwood for her expression. That's like what it is, and she just does all this like incredible shapes and all of that. I don't necessarily feel like I dress in her style, but I definitely appreciate it and understand hers is all about political statements. And I mean, she's unfortunately passed now, but they've continued to do it in the way that she would have thought. Like she used to be in protests all the time, like going down London and Westminster, very much about the environment. So her whole politics is great. Then there's there's very much classic ones. I quite like the Victoria Beckham style, but again, not for my body shape. So I feel like I look at things through like all the magazines and go, oh, I really like that. And then sort of take bits from each one.
Okay. And did you kind of study a bit body shapes as well and to understand how a dress will fall on the...
I didn't necessarily study it.
So it's more instinctive.
Yes, yeah. It's trial and error. Like the amount of times I've just gone into a shop and I'm like, ooh, okay. And I put it on my body. I'm like, no, I can't wear that.
Oh, wow.
And then you kind of learn over time. And then like also like going shopping and things like with my mum. And she's like, oh, you can wear that. But I can't because I've got slightly bigger hips than you. And, and you just, as talking to your friends as well, like, everybody be like, oh, I really like your skirt. I can't wear that because my legs are too short. So you just sort of learn certain things. I mean, some people are... I don't want to say wrong, but sometimes they think that they can't wear something when maybe they can, and it's sort of...
Yeah, it's lack of confidence.
Yeah.
Or it's like...
But you do learn, body shape, and it's honestly just like, trial and error, pick things up and put them on. And I think that's why it's like, I don't necessarily have like a favourite designer I want to dress in this certain way because I know it doesn't work for my body. So I've just figured out a style that I think can work with my shape.
And do you watch fashion shows and or it's more magazines or how do you?
I don't watch fashion shows. I'd love to go to one in person. I feel like I feel so fancy. But I do have a subscription to Vogue.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Could I borrow one magazine?
Oh God, yeah. I say that I've done it for years, but yeah, I've got all of them from about 2021, like all in a massive pile. But yeah, you could definitely borrow them.
Oh, thank you. Do you prefer dresses or trousers?
Oh, very different. I think every day, definitely trousers. I feel like I've got more. She says wearing a dress. But like, yeah, definitely I've got more trousers, I'd say, with a bit more like, I've got more like flare trousers or like sparkly trousers. And then throughout your day.
True that you have very unique trousers.
I love my trousers. But you can kind of then do anything with your day with them. Whereas a skirt and a dress, like there's always some sort of restriction. Like if it's sort of depending on what length it is, you can't sit in a certain way and stuff like that.
Open your legs like a man.
Yes. But yeah, I'd say every day trousers. But then like if it was like some sort of really smart or like, dress up event, I probably would wear a dress.
And as a human being, what is your strength?
As a human being?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know. I think I've learned it through, like learning through my job and I guess from what people say. I guess there's no way of saying this without it sounding really big-headed. But quite personable. I think I can talk to people and hopefully make them feel comfortable and, be able to calm people down when they're angry. Like I've noticed that from my jobs. I've managed to be able to diffuse situations. But then also just sort of smile and bring some positivity. So I think that's probably my strength as a human.
Yeah, because actually I was wondering, every single day I ask you how you are and you seem to be so well, you're just like, Yeah, I'm great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how?
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless something specific or bad has happened,
You're great.
then it's good. Yeah, why not?
And what would you like to be better at?
Ooh, what would I like to be better at? I mean, there are lots of things, I'm sure. Well, numbers, as we've touched on, would be great.
But do you really want to be better at?
No, not really. I don't care about that.
Yeah, me.
No.
I love being shit at.
It's a skill that, frankly, I'm not that interested in, as long as I can do the bare minimum.
Yeah, I would love to work in finance.
I just think I'd have a horrible time. Horrible time. I think, again, sort of where it sounds contradictory because we're talking about me being like, I don't care what people think and things like that. But and certain aspects is a confidence that I have. I think because of not being good at numbers and being good at the academic things, I think I've definitely have a downside to a feeling of my intelligence. And I know that sometimes I can hold myself back from things because of it. And, luckily I've had friends and my lovely partner who was like, no, you are really clever. And it's like, you are intelligent. You need to stop putting yourself down. And I was like, I just don't think so. Because I didn't get those A's or those A stars, or don't always necessarily understand all the things that people are talking about. But I mean, I guess everybody can't understand everything.
Yeah. Definitely doing this podcast, I had that sometimes. I was like, okay, you're very clever. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. How do I respond? I didn't understand the question.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And is there anyone who inspires you?
No, I don't think I have one person. I think, I've accumulated a wonderful team of, people in my life, very, very close friends, and my family and my partner and things. And I think they are just always inspiring me, like the different things that they do and their care for everybody, and just sort of having that really nice community, I think consistently motivates you and inspires you to carry on.
Sweet.
Thank you.
And do you want to be liked or approved, and by who?
Oh, I mean, yes. I think everybody wants to be liked and approved of. Absolutely. Again, no one specific. I guess it's just an all-round and probably what you're working on at that moment. So if you are in your job setting and you're doing something, then you'll want your manager to approve and like you. And then if you're thinking of a social aspect, then you want your friends to like and approve of you. So I think in certain aspects, I was going to say everybody, but no, well, maybe I'm doing it constantly, wanting to be liked and approved.
But we all are, maybe.
Yeah. In some sense.
ways.
In some ways.
Yeah.
Like I know that obviously that's not everybody. I mean, nothing is everybody. But yeah.
But a lot of women, I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like men have sometimes more confidence in just doing whatever they're doing.
I think that's come from the fact that they always have been, whereas women have definitely, bridged past that, and they've been able to do a lot more than they used to. I'm absolutely not denying that, and I know that women can do anything these days if they really set their minds to it. But there is that so much far back in history that, women were looked very differently, and we're just sort of coming out and recovering from that.
Yeah.
So innately, I think, and innately men just have that testosterone and like, ready, let's go, fight and flight, stab, animal, eat, family, all that stuff. I don't know. Eat. Sorry, I guess it must be that.
That is great. And apart from men, is there anything that scares you? Transition.
Anything that scares me. Yeah, I think that coming from being liked and approved, I guess, I think I always wonder, because everyone does that, don't they? They're like, what's your biggest fear? And some people have like heights or spiders. But mine was always just letting people down, letting the people I love and, care about down, or like failure. That's a big thing. And failure obviously has so many aspects and doors. But yeah, in what you're doing and how you're feeling, I think, biggest fear is me feeling like I haven't done enough, and feeling like I've let people down. Sorry, I ruined the mood.
I'm just leaving a silence to let people digest this.
Yeah.
Because it's funny because the people who tell me that, they are usually the people who let the people down the least, I feel like.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm always a bit surprised. I'm like, oh. But maybe that's because they are so afraid of that they are not doing it at all.
Well, maybe, yeah. It's on their mind.
Yeah. What's your strongest desire in life?
Strongest desire?
Yeah.
Well, to keep feeling happy.
And what makes you happy? Today.
I mean, I feel like I've just said this over and over and over again, but it is about, for me, it's people around me. Like if I've got that support and that love and a community, I think that's what makes you happy. Yes, you can get the wonderful job or a load of money, but if you have nobody nice to share it with, and it doesn't have to be a romantic partner or any kind of partner, it can just be a really wonderful group of friends. And having that, I think, I think they'll always be happy. So as long as I keep that, and, hopefully maybe one day a family, and be able to, bring that all in as a team, I think that would be a nice desire. And not looking back when I'm old, and not so much in the same way it's like, oh, I wish I jumped off that cliff, but no regrets in terms of, making sure I didn't reach out to that person, or, really put like everything in that I could, basically.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
If you're an animal, what kind of animal would you be?
Oh, I don't know what I would be. I mean, I'd love to be a hedgehog.
A what?
A hedgehog.
What's a hedgehog?
So they're very small. I was going to say like a rat. They're really not like a rat, but they're sort of sized, and they're fluffy, but they're spiky. And they've got little. Oh, I wouldn't know the French words.
Like the spiky things that if you walk on it, aye.
Yeah. Yes. So you get like porcupines that are a bit bigger, and then got hedgehogs that are smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they roll up in a ball.
Oh wow!
As a defense, and it's just I don't know why. Like
I could see you as, oh my god,
it's great
because they're
I just
really
like the idea of rolling up
cute.
in a ball and rolling. Go.
I just want to be a ball. Woo. Have you been in this? These transparent balls, like huge, and you can go in them. And...
Oh no, but I feel like I'd have a lovely time. I mean, I would fall down consistently, but like I think it would be great fun.
Oh my god! Do you have a favorite color?
I'm gonna go with no. I think a favorite color that I end up wearing would be like a blue. I think it's really. Like, it's nice to it's easy to wear, and it's sort of like calming, and you can have brighter colours and duller colours. I think I've got quite a lot of blue in my wardrobe. So I guess to a point I'm obviously attracted to that colour. But I don't have that thing where it's like, I have to have everything pink or I have to have everything yellow.
Blue flowers.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, definitely I open the wardrobe and loads of things. It's like, there's a lot of blue in there. So maybe blue.
Do you feel like you know yourself very well?
I definitely know myself more than I did. There was definitely a time of, like late teens, early 20s. I think I definitely didn't know who I was, and figuring out in a good way and a bad way, I guess. I definitely know more about myself now. I think I'm learning more and more about myself every experience that I try. So I'm consistently learning. So I don't think I know all about myself yet. But yeah, it's increasing more and more in a good way. I hope.
What do you like the most about yourself?
Oh, that's a very difficult question.
As you're discovering yourself, like
Yeah.
a recent discovery, you're like, that's...
Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm aware that it can sort of irritate some people, but I am very positive. Yes. And I will try and find a positive spin on things, much to sometimes a despair. So slight devil's advocate play, which can happen a lot, which I definitely have to rein myself back for. And yeah. But no, and I do like it. And, you know, and a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Consistently running around and jumping up and down.
But also the very positive thing about that is that when there's a problem, you will always find a solution. And you are also, that's something I wanted to share in the letter, like you're really creative in this approach that you will always find a way, you know, like if even a small problem like that, and you're just like, oh no, let's do that, or maybe let's try that, and you never have a moment where like, oh, I don't know. It's like, I'm sure we can find a way, and this is
I mean, that's very nice to hear. I feel like there's definitely moments in my brain when I'm like, I don't know. But
you don't show it.
But I apparently don't show it, so that's wonderful. That's great. That's wonderful. Yeah, I guess it's, you know, getting more and more confident then, I guess, in situations like that, which I can imagine when you're sort of seeing at work and something has to be done. So you've just got to try it. And if it goes wrong, then you don't do that next time. But it's better than not doing anything at all.
Yeah. And so if you could meet your 15 years old self and say something, would you?
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, when you're at that age, I remember everybody being all like, you know, oh, like enjoy being young and things like that. And you never listen. So my 15-year-old self probably wouldn't listen to me. But yeah, I didn't do exams very well. And I definitely let that get to me for A-levels. So in some way trying to be like, you know, it's not going to go so well, but don't like, you'll be fine. And, you know, it doesn't matter that you don't get A's and stuff. You know, you will find the thing that you are good at and other people do appreciate it. So don't get too sad. It's okay.
Don't look at your grades.
No, just don't open the letter. It's fine. Just continue. Don't open the letter.
Wow. Do you have any favorite book or favorite movie or anything you want to recommend?
Oh, recommendation. Oh, I immediately think, you know, you think of. No, I wish I had some wonderful like philosophical book.
Can be super not philosophical.
I know, I was going to say.
Can be Vogue.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, always a Vogue. I'm also a terrible reader. I have so many books that it's like, oh, I'll read this. And I've read about a chapter and then it seems to have disappeared.
Oh, wow.
I blame the dyslexia. But I also think I just
this is not your thing
concentrate.
Also.
No, it's just not my thing. But I also love stories, so I don't really know where that goes. But I do know that there was, I can't remember what it was called. But it was like, it was white and had like a rainbow type binder color. And it was like what people should have told you. And it was about like anxiety and how you think. And I know a lot of people really like enjoyed it and got a lot from it. Like a friend of mine did. And I began reading it. I found it incredibly interesting. I didn't finish it, which happens a lot. But yeah. And then, I mean, favourite films, I always just seem to think about the ones that I loved in childhood, but I don't think they're necessarily revolutionary.
But that's fine. What are your favourite films?
I had 3 when I was a child that we would just probably watch on repeat, or I would if I could. Got The Secret Garden, which I think is just lovely. Got nice music and just the idea of a nice little garden. There's The Little Princess. It's very sad. So I don't know why little me liked it.
I loved it so much.
Yeah, God, the consistent crying. And then one more fitting for little me was Anastasia.
Oh, yeah.
best one. I mean, also, like, Harata Little Me, like, one of my favorite, like, princesses, although she's not technically a Disney princess, was one that, like, you know, she was like, no, actually, I don't really, like, want all the fame and fortune, and, like, ran off, like, with, like, her man, and also she was the one that wore the trousers in the relationship, so.
Sorry.
Independent woman.
That's what we want.
Yeah. But yes, I'm sure everybody's also saw them.
Any project for the future?
Any project?
Yeah, it can be a big career thing or it can be a very small thing. I want to go to the sea.
I mean, yes, I want to go to
Brighton.
the sea.
Maybe next Sunday.
Oh, that'd be great. I don't know if I have a big project. I think the only thing I would say I've been thinking about would be the steps in the career. So I have started to think about, you know, where like wedding planning or wedding coordinating could go. So I guess that's my next project, is thinking of stuff like that. But then everything else, I'm happy just to see where it goes. So I haven't planned anything.
And what's your favorite part of a wedding?
Oh, that is a good question. I guess that does the same thing. From working at them, I have to say, and I think I don't know if it's specific to the way that we do it at Wilton's, but my favourite part is like they've just done their ceremony and we quite often take the couple up into like a little private room and they can have like some bubbles or whatever. It's normally while we're trying to set people up to do like a picture of like confetti to be thrown out, and then they can come down.
So just after the ceremony?
Just after the ceremony. And they get like 5 minutes or 10 minutes to themselves. And seeing them either walk into the room and then coming to collect them, just seeing that really personal moment of both of them being like, we did it, we got married. And it's really nice. And I think that's the favourite. And yeah, I mean,
I'm shivering.
I'm like all of the ones that I've worked out, they've got pure joy in their faces. Maybe not everybody does, which would be very sad. But yeah, and it's really, really, really nice. You can see them, you know, because they've done, I don't know why, you know, because like, I don't think you have to get married to have a like fulfilling relationship. I really agree with people that say that. But there
maybe
is
for
something,
people who want to get married, then getting married is really something.
Yeah, you see their faces of like pure delight. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I've done it. Like they've probably been with their partner for 10 years and yet there's something really special about this day. And then afterwards they're like, we did it, you know, and it's, you can see, so it's a certain smile.
Oh.
And it's really nice. Oh. Yeah.
Oh, let's cry together.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Arabella, for coming.
You're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
That was great. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give it a 5 stars on your favorite platform. It really supports me, and then I can interview all the artists of the world until I die. Merci.